The Constitution created a federalistic government in which the legislative branch, in which it has three branches: legislative branch, executive branch, and judicial. The legislative branch had a House of Representatives, which was elected by the people and based on the population of each state, and the Senate, which was equal representation among states. This was due to the Virginia Plan and New Jersey Plan during the Continental Congress. The executive branch had a president and a vice president that were able to veto laws, and it unified all the states under one leader, or one. And the judicial branch had federal districts that could establish laws and check the constitutionality of each law.
As the establishment of the federal government due to the Constitution, the first president was elected, which was George Washington. As president, George Washington created a system of cabinets which allowed for the Secretary of State, which was Thomas Jefferson, the Secretary of War, Henry Knox, and the Secretary of Treasury, Alex Hamilton. During his presidency, George Washington helped establish the Proclamation of Neutrality in 1793. This allowed for no dispute between France or no dispute between the British during the French Revolution, or prior to the French Revolution. This Proclamation of Neutrality still lasts today, and because of that neutrality, it was able to keep trade amongst Britain without tensions.
The Intercourse Act allowed for the federal government to intervene and regulate trade among the Indians, so they could choose how they would regulate and how they would sell and trade with the Indians and goods to the Indians. And they also during Washington's presidency, they also created Jay's Treaty, which was
They also created Jay's Treaty, which was to pay damages, seizures, and pre-revolutionary debts.
Wasn't it Britain to pay seizures? Yeah. But what do you call it?
To say for pre-revolutionary debts for Britain, and it can also kick Britain out.
Was to pay. Jay's Treaty was to pay for the pre-revolutionary debts that the Americans still owed, and also it was for Britain to pay the damages that they had done to the seizures of American ships. Pinckney's Treaty was designed and passed by Congress so that the Americans could use the Mississippi area and the area north of Florida. And the Mississippi was helpful because it allowed for easier trade along the Mississippi, in which Spain had owned during that time.
As well, during Washington's presidency, the Congress passed the Judiciary Act. This Judiciary Act gave the judicial branch, the Supreme Court, the power to pass federal laws that the nation must follow under. But it also gave the lower federal courts the right to pass state laws that the states must go under. The judicial review was made to check the constitutionality of these acts passed by the judicial branch, so no acts that went against the amendments were to be passed. So John Adams. Explain John Adams and Thomas Jefferson was with them. Oh, this is the longest part too. I have to explain John Adams, like how he was a Federalist, like what kind of ideas did he have. You want to split this one too, dude? Half. just say he was his Jeffersonian Republic went against the Federalist beliefs.
So you see, he didn't want. Yeah, he didn't want a strong government. He didn't want too strong.
The Federalist belief was stronger. I'll explain Jefferson to Adams. Yeah, you just explain Jefferson.
I'm done.
At the end of Washington's presidency, after the second term, he kept true to the two-term policy, even though they wanted him to go for a third term. But at the end, they also established the two political parties, the Federalist and the Demo Republic. John Adams, which was a Federalist, and Thomas Jefferson, which was a Jeffersonian Republican, or Demo Republican. So, John Adams followed the same beliefs as Washington. He believed in a strong government and that the neutrality. He did not want to go fight a war against Britain because the French had helped them during their revolution. He believed that there should be neutrality and that the merchants and that they should keep trade with the British because they were a major trading partner during that time.
Jefferson, on the other hand, believed in the government of the more to the people because he wanted to help the farmers, like from what had happened in the Whiskey Rebellion. He also wanted the Americans or the United States to participate in the war because he wanted to pay back the French since they allied with them. But this is not what happened. John Adams became the winner of the 1796 election. John Adams was afraid of more Jeffersonian Republicans to increase during his presidency, so he created the Alien Act, which increased the number of years to be a naturalized citizen in the United States.
During John Adams' presidency, he also established the Sedition Acts, which did not allow for the negative speaking of the government. Anyone who speak negative about the government was either sent to prison, charged, or fined heavily. This went against the Constitution for the freedom of speech, and also not allow for the development of articles of the press, the development of the press. Because some articles would talk negatively about the press, some of the presses were either stopped and discontinued.
The Federalist Era created created what is now the United States since most of these political and economic ideas became and are still laws, and the amendments done during that time, like the Bill of Rights, still are continued and followed today. The Sedition Acts, which are mostly against illegal aliens, are somewhat similar to a few of our laws today, but mostly the National Bank is still used today, and most of these are important to the development of the United States of America.
We got 9, 6, 9, 7, 8,